Hello everyone. Today I will be featuring the Ashitaka, which is the upcoming Tier 7 IJN Battleship Premium. It's still a work in progress, but well, if it's anything like the work in progress we've seen of the recent IJN battleships, it's gonna come out exactly the same way we're seeing it now. And if you wanna avoid watching the whole thing, I can tell you right now, I don't recommend this ship. But let's move on. If we compare this to a fully upgraded Nagato, it's got 2 more guns than a Nagato. It's 5 knots faster. It's got 1 second faster reload. It's got faster turret traverse. I think it's like something like 2 seconds faster, and it's got very slightly better stealth at 300 meters. In return, though, it has lower HP pool, lower gun range, lower sigma, significantly weaker shells. I will return to this in a bit. Larger turning radius, slower rudder, and slightly worse air detection. So we got 2 additional guns, or the Nagato, because after all, this Ashitaka is basically a Amagi A-hull. Now, what is important about the fact that this is an A-hull is the fact that it's the old A-hull. No, it's not the... In the past, stock Amagi used to be one of the worst ships in the game. And then they buffed the stock Amagi significantly, so the difference between the A and the B hull on the Amagi wouldn't be as extreme as it is today. The Ashitaka, however, got the old Amagi stock hull, and that is not a fun hull to have, I can tell you that. First of all, the armor is pretty much a joke. It's terrible. Well, the broadside armor is okay. I mean, that's the same value as you get from the others. The problem is that the Citadel deck armor, which is hidden behind this broadside armor, on the Amagi, it's 70 millimeters. So if you get penned through the broadside, you can still bounce stuff off it. Even though the Nagato, it's 44 millimeters, which means you can still bounce stuff. If people pen you from the side and they hit that very angled Citadel deck armor, the shells will bounce. On the Ashitaka, this Citadel deck armor is 22 millimeters, which is basically DD armor. So what happens is that if someone pins you from the side and the shells dip just low enough to even scrape against your Citadel roof, they will pen because of the overmatch mechanic. So they will automatically overmatch your Citadel, which means you eat a ton of random Citadels from weird angles, from all sorts of ranges that you wouldn't expect, and it just feels so much squishier than both the Nagato and the Amagi. So it doesn't have tankiness. It doesn't have tankiness at all. Even though I mean, it already has lower HP pool. But if you only look at the outer armor values, it doesn't seem like the end of the world that having lower HP pool, but that Citadel weakness is a huge deal. Which also means that unlike the Amagi, for example, that is exceptionally good at brawling, the Ashitaka is not nearly as reliable. Because if they pen you through the side, well, Amagi Turtleback protects you, Ashitaka Turtleback, well, if they hit the sloped armor, that's fine, but if they hit the Citadel deck armor, they will be Citadeling you from even close ranges. So, it doesn't have the tankiness. Not the tankiness at all. Second of all, the Sigma is worse. I think the Sigma was 1.8 on the Ashitaka. So, obviously, the accuracy will be suffering. And, well, you can see I'm having pretty good RNG in this game in general, but most of the time you will be whiffing a lot of shells, and that can be quite frustrating. Now, the 5 knots of speed is nice, because you're able to disengage and engage better, which is, disengaging is something you'll find yourself doing a lot in this ship, because of how squishy it is. But overall, like, there are situations like this, lander full broadside, and let's see if we fire where we last saw him. I think at this point we still had the improved dispersion from being locked on, and then much to our surprise we get 0 hits. Like a total of 0 hits on a full broadside grounded dude at like 10-11 kilometers, and that's not going to be uncommon at all. What I do need to return back to though is I mentioned that it had weaker shells. And that's very important because this Ashitaka has Type 88 APC shells. Now, these shells are the same shells that you have on the Mutsu. these are the identical Mutsu shells. So you have exactly the same AP as the Mutsu, and which means you have the same characteristics, which means the same penetration and so forth. And for those that aren't aware, Mutsu AP penetration is garbage, complete garbage. The Mutsu, however, kind of gets away with having such garbage penetration because it's at tier 6, which means it tends to face a lot of stuff it can overmatch consistently. So the penetration isn't as important because it's consistently overmatching most of the values that it faces. However, Ashitaka being a tier higher and still having the same AP is a nightmare. Now, Amagi, A and B hull these days run type 91 APC, and even the Nagato has type 91 APC. The Mutsu, Ashitaka, type 88. And this 88, I'm pretty sure both the Fuso and Fuso, Warspite, all of these have better penetration than type 88. So you have some of the worst AP pen in the entire game, and you have basically tier 6 battleships have better AP pen than you have at tier 7. So this combined with the lower sigma and general lower accuracy means that even if you hit, you probably won't be penning much. And these guns are garbage. The guns are complete garbage. This combined, of course, with the Citadel roof weakness means that the ship is not tanky, and the ship is not good at dealing damage either. So you end up eating a lot of pens. You end up eating a lot of damage. I mean, this is a Congo and a Fuso that was shooting at me. Not exactly scary for any other tier 7 battleship. For this one, very scary. Because if they pen your broadside, that's a very high chance of a Citadel. So we have to flee and we have to kite. Now, the guns are 410 mil, so the overmatch is still with you. The problem is you have to land on the right spots to get that overmatch to kick in, and getting simple pens is not really that easy in this thing. You see how much raw damage I'm eating just trying to disengage here. This is a very heavily angled battleship, and my return fire, well, I didn't do 10k to the Fuso. I'll take it. I'll more than happily take it. But overall, this ship has been extremely underwhelming. I've been playing it a lot. I've been trying to make it work. I'm even running my Yamamoto 19-point captain on it, and I've been trying to basically get something out of this. I've been trying to make it work, make it feel like a battleship. But the combination of the squishiness and the unreliable guns means that this ship simply isn't fun to play. That's what it comes down to. It's not fun to play. You can't really go in there and brawl, and you can't really exert consistent pressure at range or even mid-range either because of how bad the shells are. So you're stuck in this limbo where you try to grind to make it work, but it really doesn't work anyway, and it's an unfun experience. And this is something that Wargaming has been, I don't know why they've suddenly decided. Oh, you see one of my front turrets is bugging out. It turned through my ship. I can't believe that bug is still in the game. Sometimes one of your turrets decides to turn through your ship, and then you have to wait for it to make a full turnaround before you can use it again. It never makes any sense why it does it, but it just randomly decides to do that thing. Anyway, I don't know why Wargaming has basically the last year kind of just shut on IGN premiums in general. Like, the best non-carrier IGN premium to this day is still the Ataga. It's still the Ataga. There's a carrier, a Kaga, which is kind of overpowered against ground targets, or sea targets, basically ships in general. But other than that, pretty much all the premiums they've been releasing have been pretty garbage. Now the Harakaza is pretty okay, but the Harakaza is also very weeb-centric, which means a lot of people aren't that interested in it. But like these Mutsus and Ashitakas and ships like this, these are very gimmicky. The Key is also another one of these. It's like they take the stock version, or they take the whatever ship they do, and then they make it stock, or they turn down the stats, and then they give it some gimmick, and then they're like, here you go, this is a fun premium. But it's not fun. All of them have shit guns. That's a fundamental unifying factor with the Key, the Ashitaka, and the Mutsu. All of them have really garbage guns, and that's not very fun to play, is it? I mean, Alabama doesn't have shit guns. The Alabama is a good and fun and strong ship, and then we have the Tirpitz is also a good and fun and strong ship, and then we have these things that they keep pumping out, these IGN premiums that have been consistently extremely underwhelming. And I kind of liked the Mutsu because of the big calibers and the torps, but there's no argument that the guns on it aren't like extremely underwhelming. And I don't know why they insist on doing this, because one of the main reasons I play battleships, and one of the main reasons battleships tend to be enjoyable, is landing these big volleys and doing this big damage. I mean, you give up the raw DPM that cruisers have, you give up that raw constant damage that you can pump out in a cruiser in order to get this big alpha damage in a battleship. But the unifying thing with this IJN premium battleships is that you can't do it. It's you can get 0 hits, you can do 0 damage. It's not fun, and I don't know why Wargaming insists on doing this. Like, can't they give the ships other weaknesses besides shit guns? Why is it always the guns that they're going for? And Type 88 APC, like seriously? This was removed from the other hulls for a reason. People thought the AP was so garbage. Let me see if I should actually put up. I'm gonna put up a chart here that shows you the raw kinetic penetration for these different AP types, and you can see the comparison. Well, you can see the light blue line is the Nagato, and then after that comes the Arizona, then comes the Fuso, and well, the Bayern is very good close range, but then loses a lot of pen. And then the green line is the Mutsu. That's Type 88 APC, and that's the same penetration that this ship has. And this is tier 7. Like, what the hell? Why do they think that's acceptable? The chart was made, by the way, I think by If Nord Disc from Reddit. I thought it was a very good illustration of the Type 88, and I don't understand why they thought it was a good idea to take shells that are already bad at tier 6 and put them on a tier 7 premium. It's just wow. Why? I hope this changes, because if they change this out, I don't know if they're gonna make it the stock A-hull Amagi. At least give it the stock A-hull Amagi guns or shells, instead of giving the old stock hull Amagi, which is even worse. I mean, Jesus, it's a stupid ship right now, and it's not been a very enjoyable experience. This is probably the best game I've had in this ship, and even then it felt like a struggle. It felt like if you get the overmatch, you see that what happened there was I managed to hit all the shells on the nose, and because of the caliber being so large, you automatically overmatch. But if he angled even slightly, the amount of damage I would do would be so small, because this ship really struggles if it doesn't get those automatic overmatches kicking in. Mutsuki decided to rush me. Can we hit him? Do get some pens over pens. Of course, Battleship AP for some reason is better against DDs than Battleship HE. Don't ask me why. That's one of the things I really dislike, because the game should encourage active ammo switching, and it shouldn't just let you keep one ammo type and shoot everything. That's retarded. Anyway, the game does end, and we do end up getting 149k damage, which is quite a lot of battleship damage, but I mean 3 kills and so forth. But then when we look at the matchmaking, you realize I was the top tier. I was tier 7, and the enemy team didn't really have many tier 7s opposing me. So I can tell you, when you end up against higher tiers in this ship, it's very painful, especially when you can't overmatch the nose anymore. When you stop being able to overmatch the nose and you have to rely on the raw kinetic penetration instead, well, these Type 88 shells are extremely frustrating when that happens, and it's not a fun experience at all. Anyway, detailed report. I do end up taking 2.1 million potential damage, which was basically me angling away and just fleeing, basically kiting the entire way, because you cannot really tank in this thing, because it's not really tanky enough to survive it. It just explodes, and the amount of times I've eaten stupid citadels in this thing, I've probably lost count, because you don't even have to give full broadside to get those citadels. You just give a bit too much broadside, which is a very slim margin on this ship particularly, and you get punished. So as of right now, the Ashitaka it's another boring IJN battleship premium that is in no way really interesting. Anyway, let me show you my recommended build for this thing. Right, starting off, we have the modules. Not much to talk about here. Run the premium health and premium damage con. Upgrade wise, turret survival, better dispersion, and just pure tankiness. There's not much else to discuss here. I mean, the rudder shift is okay for a battleship, so you can get away with just running additional tankiness. Captain perks wise, I'm running Yamamoto, which I run on my Yamato. So I do run priority target. I quite like it, especially since the Yamato never really loses turrets. Followed up with, can you get away with using Adrenaline Rush first? Not really. Probably get Turret Traverse first, follow it up with Superintendent, Concealment Expert, Adrenaline Rush, and Fire Prevention. And then the last 3 points into Vigilance for better torpedo dodging. That's my pretty basic IJN BB build, and I think it works just fine. On the Ashitaka, since it doesn't really have any AA to buff, just like the Yamato doesn't, the values are extremely underwhelming, so there's not much point to it. And you kind of want the concealment, because the thing is so squishy that if you're spotted across the map, you'll be citadeled across the map. So you kind of want to be stealthy in this thing. Flag-wise, basic IGA, or basic battleship flags, we run heal, we run fire prevention, and we run faster consumable usage. Anything after this is flavor. I like the speed. How fast is this thing with speed flag 31.5? That's pretty okay for tier 7. Actually pretty good for tier 7. But other than that, I just run XP flags and money flags, because why the hell not? Not that I need either, but might as well put them to some use. Anyway, that was my, well, I might as well show you guys this. You see the shell type, APC type 88. And if we hover over the Mutsu, we can see that the Mutsu runs the same APC type 88 shell. And this shell is, of course, complete and utter garbage. It's painfully garbage, and if you look at something like, so let's say, the Amagi, you see they are running the type 91 AP shell. And even if we show the Nagata here, let's show Nagata, you can see that the Nagata B hull is also running type 91. I wonder, does the A hull even run type 88 still? No, even the A hull is running type 91 APC. So it's pretty much the Ashitaka that's the unfortunate victim of this AP that is literally some of the worst AP in the entire game. Anyway, I hope you guys enjoyed this commentary, and I will talk to you guys later.